And greetings. Welcome to Safe Space Talks, my mastery. And I'm Nigeria. And I
Hey,
my brother with me, Mike Jarvis. And we're going to talk about as we're ending the year. Mike, thank you for joining me
no,
because
no problem.
I'm ending season one and we're going to go into season two. That'll start in March. That gives me some time to revamp. Thank you guys for rocking with me for a year, a whole year. I appreciate you guys. That's right, man. Listen,
No,
anything with my name on it, I'm gonna rock out. I'm gonna give you my best. All I
that's
ask is
what
that
it
you
is.
share, subscribe to the channel. It's not going to cost you nothing because this is not even a monetized channel. I'm going to keep saying that because I need you to pay close attention to what's happening with Safe Space Talks. We're building a huge community where we can have this safe space and have these real good conversations. So, with that being said, one of our conversations we're going to have today is the mindset for change and growth. Now, one thing is for sure, change is the most consistent thing in our life. Every day we have to make new choices, new decisions, changes come. You go to your car, you've been going to your car every morning for 5 months straight to go to work. And then all of a sudden you get to the car and you got two flat tires. Okay? What do you do? Right?
Yeah.
So we can't keep acting
Yeah.
out. This show, Safe Space Talks, is because I want you to stop acting out. Okay. I want to
Right.
give you decisions. I want to give you tools and language to pause and get some self control and growth. As long as we got breath in our body, we should be growing, maturing, and expecting. That's a word I'm going to get more into in season two. So,
Right.
anyway,
Nice. Nice.
Mike, thank you so much for joining us. And if you
My
don't know
pleasure, man.
Mike, he is the CEO of Big Bear Mindset. And Mike, share some insight about Big Bear Mindset, and we can go on into change and growth.
Yeah, Big Bear Minds. First of all, thanks for having me. Now, it's a pleasure. Thanks for what you're doing as well. We need a space for people to talk freely and be open about things that are happening that they necessarily can't talk to the person next to them, or just don't feel comfortable yet. But through practice, you find comfortable. The more you do something, the more comfortable you become doing it.
Right.
So, just finding someone that can understand what you have to say because energy doesn't die, it just finds a different place to rest. And that's where you
Ooh,
have those outbursts and you have those things that happen that you're like, I don't know how that happened. It's because you've been suppressing all
that's
these
it.
things and not giving them a proper outlet, not giving this proper attention. So it's great to have places like this where people can talk and or even just come and listen or just sit
Yeah,
down and be a part, hear something and say, I'm not alone.
that's
Once you
it.
start to feel like, yeah, you see that you're not alone and it's like, oh, somebody else is going through that. And it just takes some of that pressure off of yourself. So it's great. Thank you for having that.
Thank you.
I'm still in alignment with that. Big Bear Mindset is basically a place and a forum for people to just, like I said, connect, read, and just understand that you're not alone. Get
Right.
some insight, learn something, teach something. Each one teach one, each one learn. The best teacher is the best student. So we all
Yep.
just come together, still sharpen steel, just drop knowledge. It's just important just to level out the playing field as positivity or just hope. Because
Right.
in this time, it's so easy to be despairing and just feel as if there's no way out or and you're bombarded with it consistently with so many outlets,
Right.
through media and other things. It's just this level of hopelessness that subconsciously affects you, like just this negative sea that you have to fight through. Every day is basically a fight. Like happiness
Yeah.
is a decision because things are going to happen, but you got to choose to say, no matter what happens, I'm going to be happy and I'm going to make the best of it. And when you go out like that, it gives you a head start on things. Your cup is empty because it's going to get filled by the end of the day.
Right.
But
Right.
you leave in the morning with an empty cup and you handle things the best of your ability. But back to what Big Boss said it's basically about that. It's just giving entrepreneurial, spiritual, and emotional outlet, just a place where we could go learn and stuff. It's just basically a blog, for
Right.
understanding. Even
Right.
entrepreneurship, you can learn some stuff about being an entrepreneur, everything.
Yeah, and that's good. And that takes a mindset. And I like this word mindset because you have to be able, especially being an entrepreneur, making changes, dictating, um, putting out the information, letting people know what to expect and how you want to run your business. Now, I always say as a business coach, everybody can get you you can get you an LLC.
Right,
You can start a business. You can call it whatever you want, right? But the key is how can you operate a business, right?
right.
Now, who's teaching you besides me how to operate your business, right? Because the
Right,
operations aspect of it is totally different. And I was speaking to a young man who wanted to start a restaurant. And he was like, you go to the restaurant, you see the people serve you, you see the people take your money, you see the waiters take away the food, clean up and go. And you think,
right.
I can do that. Yeah,
Nah,
I'm just
that
gonna
makes
open up my
more.
own restaurant. He said I lost so much money because I didn't see the background.
Right.
What goes in the kitchen? How many degrees does the freezer need to be? How
What's-
what stove is the proper stove to use for a restaurant? It's not just because you can cook at home, you
Right.
can cook
It's
at
so many. It's like you look at people and you fail to see what went into making that. You see them when they finally at a place where they're noticeable to you. The
right,
same person might have been around you struggling and building, but it's not until they become noticeable to you that you think they've started. But they've been grinding this whole time, building whatever they have. It's
right,
just you haven't noticed them. Like if you ever buy a car and you swear you're the only person on the block with that car or only person around with the car, and then the minute you leave the lot, you look to the left, you see the car. You look to the right, you see the car. The car's always been there. It just wasn't on your radar. It wasn't on your frequency. And that's
right,
the same thing with people. Like we draw things into our frequency. The things that we concentrate on, we see more of. That's
right,
why I say it's important to have hope. The more hope you have, the more you see it. And once you start to see it, you got to recognize it as something being positive in that direction. It's easy for people to say, I'm having a bad day. And every small thing that happens, they utilize that as proof that they're having a bad day. When in opposite, they could be having a great day, but they won't look at the smallest things like, hey, I found something today, or I was looking for this all last week and I found it today. And they're just like, oh, I needed it last week. But it's small things, small rewards throughout the day that reinforce the fact that you're having something positive. Or
yeah,
just the fact that you made it up in the morning to get out the house.
yeah,
Like if you think about the level of gratitude, it changes your perspective of the day. Nothing is you made it out the house. You take for granted that you're going to make it home. Who said you're going to make it home? It's just it's unforeseen that I'm going to do all these things I have in my mind without realizing that you're being blessed. You're giving gifts
yeah,
on a consistent basis throughout the day. And sometimes you got to look at those small things to build up and say, hey, all right, this is cool. And sometimes the things that we want so bad, in hindsight, we see if I don't did that, that would have messed me up. Or
right.
you got to trust the now, believe in the timing of your life. We are where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there.
That's
Sometimes we don't see it because we're so trapped into what we want to happen that we don't see the benefit of what is actually happening. And
right.
and then that's where the change comes in. We have to kind of accept things. When I say accept, I don't mean settle. There's a difference.
That's good. Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't settle for it, but you accept what's happening so that then you can move forward with the right path. Like if you stuck on what you want and that's not happening, how can you take the next step to say, all right, this is what I'm dealing with. This
right,
is how I have to maneuver and make my plan around what I have now, not what I want. The
right.
reality of what's in front of me is what's going to dictate my next move to get what I desire, which is in my mind. But I have to look at what I have first,
Right.
without just forcing my idea on it in a unrealistic manner. We all have to have some kind of vision of what we have to, but we have to have practicality and the immediate understanding of what's in front of me to get to my vision and
Right.
utilizing those tools to make things happen. You
Yeah.
know?
And we're talking about mindset for change. Share one of your situations where you had to, really get your mind right for, change
Man, it's
become
so many.
to become evident. Because we can say we want change and don't have the mindset to move. Oof.
Well, yeah, it's an inside job, as they would say.
I love it. It's that
Yeah,
job.
so nothing, everything starts from inside. It's your mind. We create our own reality. The things that we deem important, like it goes back to what we see. We
Right.
see the things that we deem important. We walk in the same room. and see a million different things, and you have the discussion, and somebody be like, I didn't even see that. And you be
Right.
like, that's all I saw. It's the things that we see. As far as change, I had to change my life. I was drinking heavy. I was a fish. You know what
Right.
I mean? I was going in, and I lost so many opportunities. And I found myself in scenarios where I could no longer look outside of me for the answer. I couldn't say, oh, this is happening because of that, or that, or that. I had to look inside myself. And the hard part of it is I didn't like what I seen. It's not easy to be honest with yourself and really take accountability for what you're doing. That was the biggest step for me towards change, is taking realistic accountability for my situation and saying, all right, there's nobody that did this to you. I'm responsible for every step of my life, good or bad. And I messed up a lot. And it's my fault. You know what I mean? It's my fault either putting myself there in that place, in that situation, to have to deal with it. And I was making a plethora of bad decisions. I'll tell you in season 2, I'll tell you more about where it landed me and how things happened. It wasn't jail, but it was life changing. It was for the benefit. And
Right.
it took a lot of acceptance, and I fought it. But then after I realized where I was, it was easy for me to move forward. And once I started to really take accountability for myself and say, all right, I'm responsible for this, I'm responsible for that, it allowed a higher respect for myself. It
Oh,
gave
that's
me
good.
it gave me a different perspective. Like I stopped thinking about, I became powerful, more
Mm,
powerful than before, because everything, I realized that this is my world. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have to do this. I don't want to do that. And I became more in tune to the things that I sincerely wanted to do. And I just really started to be more emotionally awakened, like just really in tune with myself. I'm
right.
not doing something that doesn't make me feel right, not trying to be disrespectful to anybody, but I have to take care of me first, because when I don't, I find myself in scenarios and situations that once I'm there, I look around, nobody's there but me to get out of it. It's not their responsibility to carry me as well,
Right.
but I still have to go through it. So I'm not going to put myself there. I'm going to always make sure that I'm good, but able to take care of those I love. But I can't do that unless I'm right, because when I'm not right, my world shatters. It's like
Yeah.
a story. A man was in his house drinking. He just wanted some time alone. Little boy comes, his son comes in the room, and he's talking to him, and he just wants to rest. He's hungover. He just needs a break. And his son is just talking to him. So he looks at a paper, and he says, all right, son. Rips out a piece of paper. He was reading the newspaper. He rips out the sheet, and it had the globe on it. Had the globe on it. He ripped it up. He said, son, I'll talk to you. Go in the other room, put this together, put the globe back together, and then come back and we can talk as long as you want. Little boy leaves the room, goes into the room. 5 minutes later, he comes back and says, Dad, I did it. His dad is like, what do you mean you did it? I thought he was going to have some time to chill. He's like, I did it, Dad. I did it, Dad. He's like, well, how'd you do it? He said, look. So he showed him the world was together, and then he flipped it over, and there was a picture of a man. He said, when you put the man together, the world comes together. You
Wow.
see? So he was able to put the picture of the man together. With that's kind of how it is. When you put the man together, his world comes together. So when I'm on point, everything around me is on point.
That's
It's
right.
like a drop in a pond. The center one creates the ripple that goes outward. You want to enter a room and have your effect on the room rather than the room affect you, and
That's
change your vision, your course.
Yeah. And, I love everything that you said. And I love powerful, strong Black men. But, when you talk about um, taking those steps in adverse times and being accountable, tell me one thing that made you say enough is enough. And I just want to know, did you get therapy in the process?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was drinking too much. I had to seek out outside help. I couldn't stop drinking.
But
Um,
what point was enough is enough though? Like when was the enough is enough?
I was probably going to blow another job. I
Uh,
had great city jobs, and I was in a
oh,
situation where, yeah, I was working for the city. I was about to possibly lose that job as well through my actions. And I'm like, what kind of person loses like 2 great city jobs in less than a year? You know what I mean? And then
right,
the effect it was having, I have a daughter. The effect it was having on her. What kind of father? I love being a father. You know what I mean?
right,
So, but what kind of father can I be if I'm inebriated? You know what I mean? It was just a cornucopia of things that came together that was like, all right, something has to give. My life wasn't. I felt a level. I felt I'm better than this. You know what I mean? I
That's
remember
good.
times crying in the bathroom, drinking when I didn't want to drink because I knew I was better. I felt as if I'm cheating the world because God put something in me, pause,
Right. That's right.
that that only I can deliver. You know what I mean? He's counting
Mm,
on me. The people are counting on me. I'm counting on myself. I'm here for a purpose.
right.
You know, and once you find that purpose, it changes your perspective and your perception of life. Things change when you feel as if, all right, I have a purpose. Like when I was doing the Big Bear Mindset is just a subsidiary of Atlas.T. I was originally, well, I'm still working, but I was doing business credit. So I was going through the stages of building my business credit to a point where I would be able to teach it.
Right.
So I was gung ho every morning. I'm getting so excited. I'm doing this, and I built my personal credit and my business credit to a level where I was like, all right, this is good. I can teach people now. But when I got to that point, it was an empty feeling. Like, all right, I'm here now. I'm looking around. I hear the crickets. I didn't have that excitement of the chase, of the pursuit, of
Right.
the purpose. So then I realized that the the journey is where it's at. It's in the
Mm,
journey. Like it's yes, you're gonna hit milestones, but that milestone becomes something different every level. Your epiphany, your pardon me, your highest point, your zenith changes. That becomes your floor if you're growing. So
right.
you can't look at it. It's not going to be the same. Like as a child, you love that bicycle. Now you imagine you riding that same bicycle. Things change. You know what I mean?
Right. I
The,
love
same
it.
thing, the
Yeah.
things that you thought would kill you in the past, you look back at it now and it's like, wow, I can't believe I was bugging off of that.
Right.
But once you understand that and you hold that in your head, and when things go bad, and this too shall pass comes to play. Like, yeah, I remember that time I thought I was going to die. I was bugging off of shorty. I was ready. But
Yeah.
then you realize that it changes and you move forward. So just having hope and
Right.
understanding, you know what I mean, and understanding like the enjoy the journey. You know what I mean. Yes, the destination is important, but once you get there, that changes. See, when I got to that point, I'm like, all right, I'm here now. You know what I mean. But another journey begins. You know what I mean.
Right.
So I stopped concentrating on the step. It's just another step. You know what I
Right.
mean. The
The
journey just
evidence
infinite.
of change. You
Yes,
know, it
yes.
produces
You know
the
what I mean.
evidence of change.
Constant elevation, cause
Yeah.
expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now talk about, we had talked before, but just share that, yes, you black men are sensitive
Oh
and
yeah,
they need help and, they
definitely.
need love and, they're not out here like the movies with their gun around their waist like a real cowboy.
Right. Definitely.
There's emotional distress. There's you're a father, so there's that responsibility. Like you said, I have a good job and maintaining that while balancing some other underlying hidden issue that you were having that was causing you to drink. But it expressed the importance of going to get help.
Well, of course, yeah, I believe it's very important. I think everyone should get help. Period. I think that the world is not designed for humans. It's so when a child is born, we're at our purest form, and we unlearn the things that make us human as we go through life. And the older we get, sometimes we become disgruntled. So I think that everyone should go find someone to have an outlet to talk to, because even if you have a tight circle, sometimes you might talk and it's a safe space. There are things that you don't feel comfortable sharing that you need to share. And
Right.
sometimes you need to maybe even talk to a trained professional that can possibly, or a professional in that area. It doesn't have to be trained to school. It could be just a old African lady or old a lady from down south, or old West Indian lady, somebody that knows, or somebody that
With wisdom.
with wisdom that knows, understands the things that you're going through, that can kind of point things out to you. I was in a scenario where I didn't even recognize the problem. It was so on my subliminal conscious that I didn't even connect it to until I sat down and spoke to somebody. I was lost. I was like, wow, I didn't even realize I was feeling like that. It came through just me doing things, putting myself on the back burner to a certain extent. Like,
What was
and just
something
being
that
what I
your
can.
What was something that your therapist may have said to you, if you don't mind sharing, because I know that's HIPAA, but if you don't mind sharing, that you said to yourself, yeah,
But
Yeah.
basically, one of the most important things she said to me that really stuck out was just not dimming my light. You know what I mean? Not becoming less than to be not becoming less than what I am. You know what I mean? For the purpose of others, and I'm also putting myself first, which I was talking about earlier. The importance of me taking care of me, and it's like when the right person take care of them, it's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? When
That's
you're
right.
doing it in the correct way, and you're not being selfish or you're not being, egotistical or mean, and you're just taking care of yourself with the best vision of everyone incorporated and you taking care of yourself. You're leading in a proper manner,
And
So
that may be one of, I didn't mean to cut you off, but one, I love that because on here I constantly say we can't dismiss people because they have issues. We got to be the problem solvers. Second thing I always promote here on Safe Space Talks is you must take care of yourself. We always use the airplane stewardess thing when,
right, yes.
people put the, oxygen on
Mhm.
you, and then you can help somebody. But
You
as a
know,
man, right? As a man, do you feel like I like you said something so key, like, don't forget you or put yourself first. And as a man, did you feel like, I gotta be head of household, I gotta take care of my daughter, I gotta work, I gotta do this, I gotta did you have that kind of um energy about yourself? Like, are you that type of person? That felt like I gotta, or how did you how are you go how prior to that were you going about life?
well, before I think I was going through it with the I gotta.
Oh, okay.
And then after I went through that, I went through it more as I get to do these things. I have the ability to do these things. It was more of a gratitude situation where
That's so
I'm
good.
able to be, I'm able to be more of me. Like my mother and father took a lot to raise me. You know what I mean? And I represent them. So when I step out, I represent my family. I represent people that love me. I represent people that call me a friend. So
Love it.
it's important to me, not necessarily. I represent my daughter. It's important for me to understand and acknowledge why they love me by being loved. I look at it with the end in mind. Like, if I'm at my funeral, what does my obituary say? We have to write out our obituary one time. You know what I mean? What would you want people to say about you? What would you want people to
Right.
think and say? Not that what they say and think is important, but it kind of dictates the life that you live.
Right.
So and it's coming from you. So you're the things that are important to your core. So once you write those things down and you see it on paper, you say, well, I'm gonna start living like that. Those
Now,
are the things I'm gonna start doing so I can be remembered in that manner, because those are things that are important to me, not worrying about what they have to say about you, but we're thinking about the person that you want to be. So I think that it didn't. It's like I like my job. My job is just an outlet for me to finance my dreams.
right,
Like
right, right,
I appreciate the job, but it's not necessarily where I am or what I want to do forever. But
right,
I'm grateful for it. I'm not going to call and be like, yo, you know what? Yeah, you know what I mean.
and
I'm not calling in today like, yo, go ahead, babe. You know what I
right,
mean? I'm
right, right,
going
and that's growth.
in. And as a man, a man is a human, you know what I mean? And a true man, a powerful person with power, there's a sense of leniency. There's not an overburden of dominance within power. Like
I love it.
when you're really strong, there's a difference between being truly strong and being insecure. Insecure, you're scared if these things happen because how do you respond to it? When you're secure and powerful, you realize that no matter what happens, I can handle it.
Right.
So I don't move with the fear of prevention as much as I would, if I was scared. And when I say move with the fear of prevention, like that's being with common sense. Go common sense, not saying go out there and just be willy nilly foolish, but
Right,
don't
right,
have these
right,
these these like smile. You know what I mean? Or not saying everybody has to smile, but in my case,
right,
you're being jovial and happy. You know what I mean? I'm not
right,
ashamed to show my happiness. I love to smile. I love to crack a joke. I love to be happy because it feels good. You know what I mean?
right.
And if it wasn't turned, I'm not afraid of that either. You know what I
Right.
mean? And as a man, I think there are so many levels that are ignored. You know what I mean? Yeah, you got to be that guy to go to and get things done, but there's different facets and different means about going about it. You know, and
Yeah.
I can't tell another man how to do it, and that's cool. But at the same time, having a place to talk, having someone to not necessarily like going to a lady. Like let's say you're in a relationship, it's hard to say, all right, I'm gonna talk to my wife about something that's
Right.
going on with me because at the end of the day, one, she'll just might look at you like, well, solve it. What kind of man am I with? You know what I mean? Then that's it in your head because that's the role of a man. You're like, I gotta figure this out. But having
Right.
a safe place, safe space, and being cognizant of who you're talking to about the scenarios. Everybody is not this perfect person to discuss your issues and have
Can we
you.
just say that? Like we're not perfect, you
No,
know.
we're not perfect, and we need places.
We are constantly moving into perfection if we
Right,
learn from our mistakes.
right.
And
It's
so, like,
progress.
we're talking about mindsets. So,
Right.
a mindset is the establishing set of attitudes held by someone. So that's how your attitude is going to dictate your mindset,
Yeah,
right? Just
definitely.
like your
System.
life dictates your decisions, right?
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
and
Decision
so
dictates your life.
yeah.
Yes.
And so we have to be mindful of all these things that are so congruent into each other. And this is what I love about Safe Space Thoughts because everything, like we can talk about this to the end of the earth because everything is so intertwined with something else. If you have a bad attitude, then you're going
Yeah.
to
Well,
have,
that's
right,
the key. That's where everything is stemming from. That's the core. When your approach and your perception of it is bad, everything becomes bad because you're looking through it with the bad goggles on. Like your glasses is bad. You're not looking at it
the bad gargle.
yeah. You got a bad set of glasses on. Like everything just look messed up in them. You're not.
Right.
It's a wrong prescription. Like you just jacked up. Everything looks bad. Where even if you're having a bad day or something, you're having a bad moment. You know what I mean? Because it's not even a
Oh, I
bad day.
love that. Say that again for the
Yeah,
people
you're
in the
just having a
back.
bad moment. Yeah,
That's
you're
it.
just having a bad moment. It's not a bad day. It's not a bad life. Something in that moment just didn't connect. And then if
Right.
you look at that, what did connect, you can turn that into something like, all right, well, what went wrong? You know what I mean? Like it's beautiful to be able to respond rather to react. When you
Right.
respond to something, you give a moment to think about it, and you say, "All right, let me respond to this." When you react, it's more impulsive, and you're not thinking about what's happening. When you respond, you say, "Okay, all right, this happened. Why did this happen? First of all, what went wrong? How can I fix this next time? I ain't gonna do that again." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then it turns from a loss to a win because now you galvanized your still you're ready to go back in with a
Right.
lesson learned, and you're more powerful than you were. You didn't lose anything. You gained a piece of knowledge, which is key.
Right.
But it's not that easy, and it does hurt. And sometimes it's like, but that's okay. You know what I mean? You don't stay in
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah.
That's
And
okay. You get hurt. It hurts. It does hurt. Things are painful. You go through it, but don't stay there. Like
right.
you got to move on. You don't stay in that place. You know what I mean? I'm not. I cried. I've been upset. I've wilded out. Like it's emotion that we go
Right.
through, but understanding like, hey, let me. As I'm older now and I've been in practice of it, I'm more in tune with my feelings, and I don't get to those places as quickly as before, or even at all, because I'm responsible. So I say, all right, even just things on the subconscious level, like how did I get here? Why did I feel like this? What happened? Like sometimes you might be in a great mood and you get a smell and now you tense and you're
Right.
upset and you don't even know why. You know what I mean? You're like, all right, when did my mood change? Oh, it happened at this point. Well, why did it happen? Oh, and then it clicks. Now you put that feeling in this proper box with understanding,
Yeah.
and everything. It's all in the mind. It's
Yeah.
the power of the mind is incredible.
Right. I mean, we're talking about, the mindset and growth. So the growth mindset says that I can improve my skills. Okay. A
Right.
growth mindset is already saying I'm willing. That's one of my words. I'm
Yes.
willing to do these things. I'm willing to make the change. When you were in your situation, when I said when did enough become enough, at the point that really means your growth mindset set in, and the poor behaviors got burnt out, and then you moved and shift your thoughts to, as you even said, I'm better than this. So that was, I can improve these, I can improve myself and make better practices, right?
Right.
And so then you shift into obtaining accountability, realizing, listen, I want to be the best person I can be, not only for me, my family, my daughter. I got to be an example. I mean, you're her first love, her first date, her first everything. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
That's what I
so,
mean.
you have to be able to get up,
And
get out of the struggle, to
yeah,
master new skills, right? Mind mastery,
yeah.
to get your mind to master a new skill set. Um,
And just
and we could do that through reading, through writing. We talked about counseling. We talked about talking to people with
counseling is
wisdom.
important. Counseling is important,
Yeah,
and your circle is important. Just being once you get this respect for yourself, it changes. People only do things that we allow them to do. So
I
sometimes
like
in desperation and having yourself at a lower place, you put yourself in places where you shouldn't really be, and you put yourself there because you're not fully cognizant of who you are. You've
I love
lost
that. Yeah,
track of who you are, and you allow yourself to be in places and doing things where you ain't got no business doing. You ain't
right,
got no business being there, and it's not in alignment with who you are. So you're not going to feel good because you
right,
can't feel good because you're not in the right place. You're not doing the right things. You're just doing things because you lack that confidence at that moment. That's not who you are. It's just a moment. It passes once you realize it.
right,
Um, it's just we continue to grow. Growth is inevitable. We grow.
right,
It's just how
right, right,
are you
right.
growing? Are
And
you
it,
growing into it? Are you growing bad? Or are you growing good? Like
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
taking that and realizing you're not a victim of life. You know
That's
what I
it.
mean? You're a
I love what you said
participant.
before. It's just a moment. It's
But
just a
it's just a
moment.
moment. You're not a victim of life. You're a participant, and you
That's
have
it.
power. You have control. You're not getting run over.
That's it.
Things you have power to change. Mhm.
Right. Right. I just want to run that. Um, yeah, and growth is important. Another word is increase, right? So as you're growing and increasing your capacity to just be a better version of yourself, to be a better individual, to be willing, right, to change, right?
Yeah.
And I thank God that He's given us such a beautiful mind that even when we think we're losing it, there's still that still small voice that's inside of
Right.
us, right? I like what you said. We heal. My God, we heal from inside out,
Right.
right? That's
Right.
so powerful. Y'all will get that, later. But we heal from the inside out, and especially being a Christian, we hold all that we need inside of us. So
We already have
these
everything that we need.
external situations should not dictate who God
Not
created
at
us
all.
to be. And so, one of the things I do love, and I talk to fellow Christians, is that sometimes I just believe the stronger people, the ones who ain't been through nothing yet, y'all just
Yeah.
not ready. You don't ever want
It's
to
so
go
different.
through some of the
Yeah.
struggles
Oh man.
without having endurance. The
And
Bible
yeah.
says the saved shall endure. So if you're going through something and you think God has forgotten about you, I want to say it's safe to say He's actually calling you. My God, I
Yeah.
feel my help
Yes,
coming.
indeed.
Um,
Yeah.
you
Help
know,
doesn't come in the way you ask for it. It comes in different forms. Like you might find yourself in a scenario and you jacked up, but you're there for a reason to utilize that. I was in a
yeah,
situation where I needed help, and help came, and I was like, "This is not what I asked for at all. What are you doing?" But I took
right,
it. I took the
right.
help that came for me, and it was the best thing I could have done. But
See,
it came in totally different packaging. You know what I mean? I
I
thought I
love
was
what you're
getting
sharing.
one.
I love what you're saying
Yeah,
because
it
it's
came
true.
so
It's
right, and
true.
you got to be receptive.
And when
And
you can learn from a lesson, you're such the better for it. You're
that's
such
what
the better for it. And
I'm
then
gonna say.
you are
Just
equipped. to be on Safe Space Talks. Mom
Right.
asked me to help others because
Right.
you can't help me if you never been through PTSD. You know,
Oh man.
now I'm a retract. I'm a retract because people say that, right? But I
Right.
believe an all-knowing God, right? And on a previous show, I was talking to one of my brothers, and we was talking about how God used the donkey, right? So I do believe that God can send a word through, like you said, a package. You just like,
Right. Exactly.
you know. But if you have ears to hear and eyes to see, what the Spirit
Right.
of the Lord is saying, you'll be all right. But when you've actually been through something real devastating, I give you a stamp of approval. If you came out victorious, if that challenge didn't break you and you got breath in your body to still give your testimony, that
Right.
you know what? You was built for it. You didn't want it, and God would have told you this is what you had to go through. You would have backed
Right.
out. You'd have
You did it. You gave up.
you scaredy cat, right? But when you have, everybody just thinks ministry is the assignment. Mm-mm. Oh, I want to help
No.
everybody. Oh, Lord, the struggle is the assignment.
Yeah,
It's
it
the
is.
struggle,
What
baby. It's the
one thing?
journey. Like you said,
Yeah, it's the
don't get
journey.
caught up in the journey. It is. This is what
Mhm.
victory looks like.
Yeah.
Let's look at it
Yes.
real quick. Let's just take a pose.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is what victory. This is what victory looks like, baby. This is
Yes.
what it looks like. Just like I always say, mental illness don't have no look.
No, it doesn't. Anybody. Right.
I've
That's
been
what
to
I've
a
learned.
homeless shelter and the dude had on a suit, but he was homeless. Some of our catastrophes are not so discerning.
Right.
I
Not
can
at
look at
all.
you. I think you okay. You
Yeah,
look
you
good.
don't know what's
But you
going
can
in
be
there.
crazy as I don't know what.
Yeah, you don't have no look.
You notice some of the murderers are nice looking? No, okay,
Yeah.
let me just you know,
A lot of people, there is no physical attributions towards being mentally out of line or
right,
out of pocket.
right.
And also one thing that I just want to double down on the importance of for proper change to be initiated, it has to take some kind of self accountability. You know what I mean? Because you could grow, but if you think nothing is wrong, you're just growing into that person that's not
Ooh,
doing right. So you continuing
ooh,
on that path of whatever you've been doing, you don't see nothing wrong with it. So you just doubling down on your bullshit. You're just doubling down on the things that you
right,
shouldn't be doing. But
right.
it takes some kind of self accountability. That's the real hard part, and that's at least for me, that was the hardest part to really be honest with myself and to look myself and say, "Yo, Mike, you really messing up bad, and it's nobody else's fault. It's you. You're the cause." Like even if I could count my best day, it would be great. My best moments, but still, all in all, that's a moment. You can multiply that. And the worst things that happen to you that you want to put, you did those things, not directly, but some wouldn't. Let's take everybody out of your equation and just put you in it. What did you do? Yeah,
I
you weren't the
always
one
say
that did
that.
this and
What
that.
role did you play
Right. You didn't do
in
that
your
part. But
mess? It's your
how
mess.
did you get there? And then now why were you even there? Don't lie to me. You can't lie to me. What were you really thinking? What were you doing there? What did you have a purpose being there now that you look at it? You know what I mean? So you get to play the tape. You know what I mean? Like
Ooh,
you play the tape all the
I
way
like
through. You,
that.
you
Play
you
the
don't look at the
tape.
highlights. You look at like when I used to drink. I learned that from being in the rooms, like AA and things like that. They say play the tape through. You don't look at the good time that you're gonna have when you're drinking at the party. You look at the fact that you're gonna go home throwing up, that you're gonna call out for the next 2 days. You know what I mean? You don't look at the beautiful part of it. You play it all the way through. You play it to the part where, all right, no, it looks good because as humans we want to highlight and remember and embellish on the good times. But that also has more to it. You know what I mean? Let's go to the credits. Let's go to when you called out for the week. You know what I mean? Where you up in your house wondering what you did last night. You know what I mean? Like, what did I say? What did I do? Is
Right.
that really worth that? You know what I mean? So you got to play it through. We highlight the beautiful parts of it and tend to negate the consequences or the negative outcome of our actions. So
Yeah.
it's important to incorporate all of that and realize what am I doing, what's going to happen, and why am I doing this? Is it worth what can turn out? You know what I mean? Because only I can put myself in danger. You know
I
what I mean?
love it.
Things can happen unforeseen, yes. You know what I mean? And at that stage, you rely on yourself to be able to try to handle it the best way you can.
Right.
But you took the preemptive steps not to put in that situation. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's
I
just
mean,
holding
no one
accountability.
talks about the DUI, or the accident that you may have caused and killed
Oh,
somebody innocent
yeah,
because of your
yeah, or
negligence.
just yeah, or just
The
all
lies
kinds
that
of
your
things.
friends tell you, oh man, you so much fun when you drunk.
And
Oh, we was what are the kids saying now? Because I'm almost 60. What are the kids saying now? Oh, we was lit. Like, oh, it was lit, right?
well,
Yeah, it was
it's
lit, all right. You know what I'm saying?
well, and also when you realize things, you find once you concentrate on yourself, you find out things around you. When you in tune with yourself, you find how out of place you are in certain places, and how
Ooh, that's
comfortable
good.
people are having you there. Like sometimes people want you to be the messed up one so that they not so messed up. You know what I mean? In comparison, so they need somebody below them. Or like the old saying, people love to see you doing great as long as it's not better than them. You know
Ooh,
what I mean? Not everyone, but there's scenarios like that. But the more you're in tune with yourself, you're no longer the scapegoat. You're no longer that person, and it doesn't rub a lot of people the right way sometimes. On your path towards building yourself, it becomes lonely sometimes because there's people
yes,
that have you have
sir. Yes, sir.
yeah,
We got to do a part two in season
yeah,
two about getting well and being lonely because you
right,
do. I believe God will clear everything out
right,
and get you
and,
to Him, get
and,
with Him by yourself.
right,
Isolation for elevation,
right,
and
yeah.
that's not always fun because you still want to go or you still want company, and
Until
all
that
the
clarity
doors
comes,
are closed. Duh.
close until that clarity comes, and then you realize
I love
the
it.
thing.
I
And
love
then,
it.
and then
Yeah,
when that clarity sets in, you're like, you don't want to go nowhere. Not in the
right.
bad
Then
way.
you're
You get
like,
very selective with your time.
you
You're
got
like,
so much
I'm not doing
peace.
that, huh?
You got so
I
much
mean,
peace.
yeah, yeah, peace. In the beginning, when you're making that transition, that's a part of change. Is you're making that transition, and that peace is looking like boredom to you because you're not used to it. You're like, I'm bored. I ain't got nothing to do. Be still. Let the change like when you be still for a second. Sit your ass down. You know what I mean? But
Right. Sat down. Sat down.
right. But once you're in that place and you start to become in tune with yourself, you start to value those moments because now, like I said, it's
I love
internal.
it.
You're not
Value
looking for
the moment.
external stimulants anymore. It's internal. The things that you're thinking, the thoughts, the things that you're interested in, the things that you say, hey, let me go do this. It's different. You know what I mean? You find that time, and then you start seeking that time alone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not that there's anything wrong with other people and all that, but you still value that you time, and it regalvanizes you. It puts you on, like it's a part of self maintenance. It's important to have that alone time so that you don't become assimilated with everything else that's
I
not
love
you.
it. Hmm.
You need that time away to stay strong within you. So
Right.
I love it. And it goes through it. You feel like that. Like
And
that
that's
is that.
that growth process.
Yes, yeah. It's
That's the
necessary. You're
growth
growing.
process, that
Right.
isolation time, that lonely time, getting to know you.
Yeah, exactly. Truly,
Okay.
no.
Try to know, you know me, I always say, examine yourself.
Yeah, and truly know you,
Look at
and
you.
do it. And you need enough time away because what we do, we go back to the norm.
Ooh,
We bounce back to what we're comfortable with. The name of my company is Atlas.T. Big Bear Mindset is a subsidiary of Atlas.T. Atlas.T means in the world we carry the heavens and the earth on our shoulders till we get to a certain point. And then we must transcend, you know what I mean, past that point. But that getting past that point is something like something happens that changes our lives that we cannot go back to our normal state. We can't go back to our comfort zone. The things that we want, we can't run back to because it's no longer there. So we have to change. So we transcend, we change, and we get to that T, which is the transcend. Then we look back at it as at last. Because once you get past that point, you look back as like, at last it makes sense. But it doesn't make sense until you get past that point of understanding where you can't go back to where you were. You have to change.
yeah.
Sometimes you have to change it. His life changed.
Yeah,
It's inevitable. You roll
I
with it
love
and
it.
understand where you are.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
mean, it's two words in the Bible that I always love reading, and that is after this, and it would be something that God did or whatever, and He's like, after this, and then the second word I love when I'm reading my Bible is therefore, right?
Right.
Because therefore, you know, this
Right.
is why
Right.
this is what it is, right?
It's a
And
clarity.
and and it's like, being accountable for yourself requires trusting,
Yeah.
trusting, that you're better, trusting in your faith, trusting that, you know, it's like, I love what you said. It's just a moment. It's not
It's just a
permanent.
moment. It's not.
We just said the most consistent thing in life is change. So
Yeah.
you only gonna be stuck there if you want to be there.
You're right. Oh,
Right. For the
yeah.
people in the back, you're only stuck there if you want to be there. Okay.
Right. Pick
So
it up and go.
got to get up and
You pick
go.
it up and go. Like you work in a small office full of gossipers, and you pay attention. I'm just saying, and you pay attention, and you the moment of gossip for the day. You only the moment of gossip till somebody else messed up. You know what I mean? They talking about that, but that's not how life is. Or even just all right. Here's another story. You think the world is looking at you, but there's a young lady. It's her first job. You know, she goes for a job. I got this from a book, Covey's book. She's going for her first job. She's excited about it. She goes in. She thinks she knows everything. She goes to the interview. The interview lady is like, "No, we don't need you." She's crushed. You know what I mean? She's devastated. So now it sparks something in her. She's like, all right, I'm gonna start my own business. I don't need nothing. I'm gonna show this lady exactly who I am. And she does. She goes out. She's very successful in the field, and she's just building every day. She's like, watch when I see her, she gonna learn. She gonna know what she done did, what she messed up on. So now she's at a big conference, and just so happened the hiring manager that the CEO lady, the final person that could have gave her the job, was there. But now she's her own CEO. She has her own business and is doing great. Right now, they're basically peers in the field. So they're peers. They're the same. So she built herself up. She said, watch this. So she goes over to her and she's like, she first she's nervous as hell. She's like, oh, then she goes. So now she's back to that person that was in that room.
Oh, that's so
She's
good.
thrown back there. So she's like, oh, gee. So she's nervous like that first day. She forgot about her whole accolades. So she's nervous. So she's like, but I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna tell her. So she goes over there. She finds the courage. She walks up to the lady. You remember me? You know what you did? And the lady looks at her, stops with a smile. No, I don't remember you at all. I don't know who you are. So she did all of this stuff, all this preparation with expectations that she was going to have this big, and the lady don't even know who you are. You doing all this, people don't care. And I say all that, like people don't care what you're doing. Like,
Right.
don't do what you're doing. Like you doing all of this, thinking that you gonna hurt this lady or this lady gonna have some. The lady after you left that office, the lady was like, "Next, you're a perfect fit," and she started to concentrate on what she had to concentrate on. So
Right.
I just say
I
that to
love it.
move on. Like people, people move on. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're not concentrating on you. Even if they are concentrating on you, it doesn't help to feed into that energy. You control
Right.
your power. You're powerful. People are powerful beyond their imagination. So powerful. Like the
And they
things that
don't
we want,
realize it. They
the
don't
things that we
realize
want.
it.
Right. If you start off saying, no, I can't, you won't. Because you eliminate the thought process to think of ways to make it happen. When you say I can no matter what, you start to come up with ideas. Well, if I did this, or what if I did this? It adds on. But once the
Right.
minute you think you can't, you no longer think of what if possibilities or think of ways of pulling something together to make it happen. You know, your brain isn't it's not clicking like that. It's not
Right.
thinking like, oh, you know what? He used to do that. I could call him and see if he knows somebody and point me in the right direction. You already thinking, no, I can't do it because you don't see the means immediately in front of you. So
Right.
it kills that drive to push and open doors for yourself in any asset of life. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation because it was lit. No. But a
Thank
good
you.
takeaway for me, and I'm always learning, I'm forever learning, I'm very teachable. One thing you said that really blessed me, and that was, it's not that I can't, It's that I get to. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that right there, guys, that's a nugget. That's a nugget.
You're
So, the mindset for change and growth starts with you. It starts with your attitude to make the change and the attitude to continue to grow. Listen,
right.
I'm Nigeria, and this is Safe Space Talks My Mastery. This is my brother Mike Jarvis of Big Bear Mindset. You got all the information on the video of how to reach out. And you can always reach out to me at safespacetalks@gmail.com. I love me some y'all. And thanks for watching.
All right. Peace.